What if the most unforgettable moment of the night didn't happen on stage, but after everyone thought it was over? When Song Weilong quietly returned, not for cameras, not for headlines, but for something far more personal, fans realized this was no ordinary celebrity moment. The lights in Chengdu shimmered softly that evening, wrapping the city in a golden glow that felt almost cinematic. Inside the venue of the Rimowa event, anticipation hung in the air like a whispered secret waiting to unfold. Fans gathered early, their excitement building with every passing second. Phones ready, hearts racing. And then, he appeared. Song Weilong stepped into view, not with loud fanfare, but with a quiet confidence that immediately commanded attention. Dressed in a short gray suit from your ranch in spring, summer 2026, his look was understated, yet impossibly refined. It wasn't just fashion, it was presence. Every movement he made felt intentional, effortless, like someone who didn't need to try to be noticed because he already was. But before the moment could settle, another wave of energy swept through the crowd. Zhao Jinmai arrived, and just like that, the atmosphere changed. Her aura was different, soft, radiant, almost comforting. Where Song Weilong carried quiet intensity, Zhao Jinmai brought warmth, a kind of light that made everything feel closer, more intimate. Two stars, two distinct energies, and somehow perfectly balanced in the same space. Fans weren't just watching anymore, they were feeling it, and deep down everyone sensed it. This night was going to be something special. At first, everything followed the rhythm of a typical high-profile brand event. Cameras flashed, media called out names, staff guided movements with practiced precision. But something subtle began to shift. Instead of staying distant, instead of maintaining that invisible line between celebrity and crowd, Song Weilong stepped closer. A glance turned into eye contact. A wave turned into a moment. And suddenly, the space between him and the fans didn't feel like a barrier anymore. It felt like a bridge. He acknowledged them, not as a blur of faces, but as individuals. And that changed everything. Nearby, Zhao Jinmai mirrored that same sincerity. Her smile wasn't rehearsed. It lingered. It responded. It connected. There were no grand gestures, no exaggerated performances, just genuine interaction, soft laughter, small exchanges, moments that couldn't be scripted because they were real. Fans began to realize they weren't just witnessing celebrities attending an event. They were witnessing something more human, something rare. And as the night unfolded, that quiet connection began to grow stronger. Time moved quickly, as it always does when emotions run high. The official program began to wind down. Speeches ended, lights dimmed slightly, and one by one, the structured flow of the event started to dissolve into its closing moments. Fans held onto the last glimpses, trying to capture everything before it slipped away. Because moments like this, they never feel long enough. Eventually, the inevitable happened. The event concluded. Staff began clearing pathways. Security gently guided the remaining crowd. And just like that, it was over. Or at least, that's what everyone thought. Because in the quiet aftermath, when the excitement had already begun to fade, when most believed there was nothing left to see, something unexpected stirred. A movement, a return. And suddenly, the story wasn't finished yet. Without announcement, without build-up, Song Weilong came back. Not as a grand re-entry, not as a staged moment, but as something far more powerful. A choice. He walked back toward the fans who were still there, the ones who hadn't left, the ones still hoping, still waiting. And in that quiet return, everything changed. He wasn't there for publicity. He wasn't there because he had to be. He was there because he wanted to be. To say goodbye. To acknowledge them one more time. His gestures were simple, but their impact was overwhelming. Fans who had been preparing to leave suddenly found themselves frozen in disbelief. Some smiled through tears. Others stood silently, absorbing the weight of the moment. Because what they were witnessing wasn't just kindness. It was intention. In an industry often defined by distance and perfection, this was something different, something real. Nearby, Zhao Jinmai remained a steady presence, her warmth still radiating, her connection with fans just as genuine. Together, they created a final moment that no camera could fully capture. Because it wasn't about what was seen, it was about what was felt. Long after the lights faded, long after the venue emptied, something lingered. Not just in photos, not just in videos, but in memory, in feeling, in the quiet realization that sometimes the smallest gestures leave the deepest marks. That night in Chengdu became more than a brand event for Rimowa. It became a story, a moment where distance disappeared, where fame softened into something human, where two stars, Song Weilong and Zhao Jinmai, reminded everyone that connection isn't measured by scale, but by sincerity. And maybe that's why fans couldn't let go of that night so easily, because deep down they knew they hadn't just witnessed an event, they had experienced a feeling. So now the question lingers. If you were there in that moment, would you have been able to walk away?